and welcome to Embodied and Beloved Faith, Healing, and the God Who Meets Us in the Body. I'm Shannon, a manual osteopathic therapist, and every day I sit with women who are carrying more than pain in their bodies. Often there's stress, grief, exhaustion, and questions about healing that don't have easy answers. When I say embodied, I mean this, that our faith is not something we live out only in our thoughts or beliefs, but in our nervous system, our breath, our posture, and the stories that our bodies are holding. Our bodies are not separate from our spiritual lives. They are a place where so much of it unfolds. And this podcast is for women who are learning to listen to their bodies with compassion, who are discovering that healing is a process rather than a finish line, and who are coming to trust that God meets us not only in prayer or reflection, but right here within the lived experience of the body. You are embodied, you are beloved, and you are not alone. Hello, everyone. I am so grateful that you've joined me today. Over the past few episodes, we've been exploring how our bodies communicate with us, how our nervous systems respond to stress, how safe relationships help us heal, and how many of the patterns we carry are actually learned ways of protecting ourselves. Today, I'd like to continue that conversation by asking a simple question. What happens when your body says no, but you keep saying yes? And maybe you've experienced that before. You wake up exhausted, but you tell yourself to push through. Your shoulders have been tight for weeks. Your stomach feels unsettled. You haven't slept well in months. You're becoming impatient with the people you love. Little things make you cry. You can't concentrate the way you used to. And yet you keep telling yourself, I'll slow down after this week. Or I'm sure things will settle down soon. Or I just need to try harder. Until one day your body says, I can't do this anymore. And not because it failed you, but because it has been faithfully carrying more than it was designed to carry. Today, I want to explore what it means to listen to our limits, not with fear, not with shame, but with wisdom. I wonder how many of us have quietly learned that good people push through, that strong people don't complain, that faithful people keep going, that successful people don't have limits. Especially as women, many of us have been praised for how much we can carry. We become dependable, reliable, helpful. We anticipate everyone else's needs before they even ask. We become the ones who hold everything together. And while those can be beautiful qualities, they can also become exhausting ones. Because somewhere along the way, many of us have stopped asking, what do I need? Instead, we began asking, what does everyone else need from me? And there's a difference. And over time, our bodies begin paying the price. One of the beautiful things about the human body is that it is constantly communicating. The challenge is, most of us were never taught how to listen. As an osteopathic therapist, I see this every day. People often come into my clinic because of pain. A sore neck, headaches, jaw tension, low back pain, digestive concerns, persistent fatigue. Sometimes they assume their body has suddenly turned against them. But often, their body has been trying to have a conversation with them for months or even years. Our bodies have incredible ways of adapting. When life asks us to carry more than we should, our bodies often compensate. We brace, we tighten, we hold our breath, our shoulders creep upward, our jaw clenches, our breathing becomes shallow, the muscles around our ribs stop moving freely, and even our posture can begin reflecting the weight we're carrying emotionally. Now, I want to be careful here. Not every ache is emotional, and not every illness is caused by stress. Our bodies are wonderfully complex, and medical care is incredibly important. But our emotional, spiritual, and physical lives are beautifully interconnected. Ignoring one almost always affects the other. One phrase I often come back to is this: the body whispers before it screams. At first, the whispers are small: a little more fatigue, a little less patience, more tension, poor sleep, feeling overwhelmed more easily, less joy, more reactivity. And because life is busy, we often silence the whispers: coffee instead of rest, scrolling instead of stillness, busyness instead of reflection, another commitment instead of a boundary. And eventually, the whispers become harder to ignore, not because your body is working against you, but because it is working for you, trying to get your attention, trying to protect you, trying to say something needs care. Now, I want to bring some balance to this conversation. Listening to your body doesn't mean avoiding everything difficult. Sometimes growth is uncomfortable. Sometimes obedience stretches us. And sometimes love asks us to do hard things. Jesus himself embraced suffering for the sake of love. But there's a difference between sacrificial love and chronic self neglect. There's a difference between courage and constantly overriding your humanity. Listening to your body isn't about letting your feelings make every decision. It's about paying attention to the wisdom God has woven into your design. Maybe the question isn't, how do I stop feeling tired? Maybe it's, why am I so tired? And maybe the question isn't, how do I push through this tension? Maybe it's, what has my body been trying to tell me? And those are very different questions. One of the things I love about reading the Gospels is that Jesus never apologized for being human. He got tired, he slept, he withdrew from crowds, he ate meals, he accepted hospitality, he wept, he experienced deep sorrow, and he prayed alone. Jesus never treated his humanity as something to overcome. He lived within it, perfectly, beautifully, and faithfully. And sometimes I wonder if we've confused faithfulness with exhaustion, as though being completely depleted somehow proves our devotion. But burnout is not a spiritual gift, and endless striving is not the invitation of Jesus. When Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened," he isn't inviting us to become less human. He is inviting us to bring our humanity to him. What if listening to your body became an act of stewardship? Not self indulgence, but stewardship. This week, instead of criticizing your body, be curious about it. Notice where you carry tension. Notice when your breathing changes. Notice what situations leave you feeling settled and which ones leave you feeling depleted. Notice what brings life and notice what continually drains it. Not so you become fearful, but so you become aware. Awareness is one of the first gifts of healing because we cannot care well for what we refuse to notice. So, let's take one slow breath. Relax your jaw. Let your shoulders soften. Notice where your body meets the chair beneath you. And just for a moment, allow yourself to stop striving. You don't need to solve everything today. You don't need to have all of the answers. You simply need to be present and perhaps ask one gentle question: Lord, what have I been trying to push past that you are inviting me to pay attention to? And sit with that for a moment. May you grow in kindness toward the body God has entrusted to you. May you learn to recognize the quiet whispers before they become desperate cries. May you have the wisdom to honor your limits without believing they define your worth. May you discover that rest is not something you earn after you've done enough, but a gift that reminds you that your value has never been dependent on your productivity. May you find the courage to slow down long enough to hear what your body has been faithfully trying to tell you. May your mind become quieter. May your breathing become deeper. May your heart become lighter. And may your body know the peace that comes from no longer carrying what was never yours to carry alone. If today's conversation resonated with you, I encourage you to spend a few quiet moments reflecting on one question. Where have I been overriding the limits God lovingly built into me? You may even want to write about it, pray about it, or talk with someone you trust. And if you know someone who has been carrying too much for too long, I'd love for you to share this episode with them. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Until next time, may you continue discovering the beautiful invitation to live as someone who is both embodied and deeply beloved.